Hi everyone, it's Raquel, 40 Day Family. We are on day 19 of the Celebrate America 250 Years. And today's scripture is Mark 16:15. Go into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. I love this scripture, and I was talking to a friend the other day, and she made mention, not specifically of this scripture, but it's definitely fitting. And things come to you from different places sometimes to act as confirmation of what you're hearing or you think you're supposed to be doing. So when I came across this scripture, I was like, oh my gosh, this is one that I definitely need to share in the Celebrate America. So this one was used August 6th, 1801, but it was during a revival in Cambridge that took place on August 6th to August 12th, 1801. And it was, America was young then, near around 25 years old, and they were still having the fallout from the Revolutionary War and all the people who had fought, and the gospel had kind of waned a little bit in our country, and a lot of people had fallen away and stopped believing, and there were other things, other influences that were happening, and I'm not going to go into all of those because it would take way more than the time I have in this video. But I just wanted to share that this revival that happened in Cambridge between August 6th and August 12th, 1801, is considered the beginning of the Second Great Awakening. And yesterday we talked about the Third Great Awakening. So I'm going to try to find the First Great Awakening also, and I guess we'll just do it in backwards order, if that's what the Lord wants me to do. So literally our country, America, United States of America, was born in between the First and Second Great Awakening in America. And I'm just like, wow, this is so fascinating, that the timing of everything. So I'm going to read a quote from a man who talked about that week in the revival. And this is what he said, I quote, "Never before in America had so many people attended this type of sacramental occasion. Never before had such a diversity of seizures or physical exercises affected or afflicted so many people. The Cambridge Sacrament has become a legendary event, the clearest approximation to an American Pentecost, prelude to a Christian century. It arguably remains the most important religious gathering in all of American history, both for what it was symbolized for and for the effects that flowed from it," end quote. And so another thing that was important with this revival is it was multiple dominations. I will get that word out yet. So there were, it wasn't just all one domination. They were all coming together, and in the encampments there were sometimes 5 or 6 preachers preaching the same message in different areas so more people could hear. Back then they didn't have microphones. And to paint a better picture, when we go to a big gathering or a big gathering in a big building of church, there's cars in the parking lot, there's traffic, there's, everybody's riding in their cars. And so back then they didn't have cars, so it was carriages and buggies and horses, people coming on foot. And so the reason that the revival ended when it did in the flesh is because it said that they couldn't maintain the needs for everyone. And not only everyone there, you know, hungry food, lodging, things like that, but the animals or their mode of transportation couldn't just sit in the parking lot like a car, because the horses had to eat also and drink and have rest and all of that. So it was different back then, and in my mind I think, oh my gosh, that must have been a little bit chaotic, but I'm sure that's what they were used to, so they knew how to organize those things, just like in our time we know how to organize parking lots and around buildings so that things flow as best they can. So anyway, I hope you're enjoying this, and I just decided to use the Pledge of Allegiance because, you know, our country was so young during this time, and they had fallen away and now they're coming back. And it's just so interesting how the cycle goes with the gospel. You know, people come to the Lord, they live, they're blessed, and then they fall away and they're not necessarily cursed, but they're not blessed as much. Some of those blessings are pulled back and they have a harder time. And it's just really fascinating, the cycle that mankind goes through. You would think that we would be able to learn from the generation before and not have to be repeating the same mistakes. But we're human and we all have to learn in our own way. And with that, I want to say have a great day or great evening whenever you're listening to this, and happy family building.